Hi, everybody. We are launching our capstone with an introduction with all our faculty panel here and our client partners. So we are very fortunate to have three of the faculty who've been working on the capstone, well, who've been working on the specialization with us today. We have Dr. Eric Reinfleisch, Kevin Hartman, and Dr. Rhiannon Clifton here with us on the call. And we also have Reshma and Sonesh from Bosch, and we have David on the call. There's some technical troubles getting him online, so hopefully he's able to join us on the call as well. So first of all, just take a few minutes to introduce the faculty. Most of you would already know them. You've seen them a lot in the earlier courses. So Dr. Eric Reinfleisch, who leads the first course in the specialization, Marketing in a Digital World. And we have Kevin, who does the analytics courses, two of the analytics courses, which is course number 2 and 3 in the sequence. And then we have Rhiannon, who's doing course 4 and 5, talking about digital channels and your channel strategy. And finally, once you've taken all of these 5 courses, you are set for this capstone, which will be launched pretty soon. We don't have a confirmed start date yet, but you will hear an announcement from Coursera when the course is set for launch. So first of all, I'd request the team at Bosch, Reshma and Sonesh, to just introduce yourselves and tell us about what Bosch is expecting from this project. We know Bosch and Grainger are working together on this. Our main client, of course, is Grainger, and you'll be when you look at the overviews for the capstone, you'll see the problem that we are working on for Grainger, but the campaign you'll be designing will be for increasing Bosch sales of Bosch power tools on Grainger. So over to you, Sonesh and Reshma.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sonesh Shah, and I'm responsible for digital here at Bosch Power Tools, which means I work very closely with our customers to really improve our digital capabilities and to make sure that they're being sold well online. A lot of e-commerce. Maybe as a primer of how this whole thing kind of came started and why we're so interested in the digital sphere. All the tools in general, a very hardline type product, a very offline product is really considerably over the last few years towards much more of an online purchase cycle. So, for example, we expect that over 30% of all power tools will be sold online, up from approximately 2% back in 2009. So the shift has been really significant and really fast. For us, as a brand manufacturer, this means that we have a tremendous challenge in terms of making sure that our products are well found online, that they are merchandised properly at our retail partners, and that we're supporting our retail partners in effectively helping to market our products. So when we work with a customer like Grainger, we try really hard to make sure that we understand the Grainger user and that we help Grainger as well as ourselves to put our products in front of the right user at the right time. I'll let Reshma introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Reshma Patel and I am one of our e-commerce account managers here. As Sony mentioned, there's a shift from buying power tools offline to online that we've seen over recent years. And so my role is essentially working with our key partners like Grainger to grow our business online. And that comes from, again, there's a sales component as well as getting the right content online, making sure that, our products, as Sony mentioned, are merchandised correctly. We have the right images, the right videos going to these different products. And again, Grainger has the selection that they need to target the Grainger user, and again, partner with Grainger to essentially grow the business online.
Reshma, you're an alum of UIUC, correct?
I am, yes. I graduated from the MBA program in May of 2013.
Nice. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you also do the Google Online Marketing Challenge in 2011, and your team won one of the awards we had set up?
Yes, that is correct.
Great. Yeah, good to have you back with us.
Thank
So
you.
Kevin, of course, is at Google, so I'm sure he knows a lot more about the online marketing challenge. Could you, I know this partnership that Granger is doing is new for, Granger. Do you do this often with all your resellers, or is this something new for you as well?
No, we do not partner with each one of our customers. Granger, in that aspect, is really different because they have the team to support this channel. We're doing the same on our end, where we have our own digital team supporting, customers, supporting marketing, supporting different platforms that we're a part of, and we all report to Sonash. And with Granger, you can see that they've invested heavily into their digital platform, and by them making their investment, it really shows us that they're committed to this side, to the online sales side, essentially. And so we're willing to partner with them to make sure that we have the right opportunities, and we're, again, working with them to provide them with everything that they need so we can grow as, partners together online.
So having Granger and Bosch on the Capstone together is really a great benefit for our students. Any thoughts on what you expect out of this project from the students, and what are you looking forward to when the Capstone finishes? So we have David with us finally.
Sure.
David, welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, David. We just had a question for Sonesh right now. So once they finish, I'll come back to you.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. From our side, when you first briefed us on this, Vishal, we had said that how jealous I think I was that a class like this exists nowadays, and that it is in a platform like Coursera. It's extremely interesting, and it's extremely kind of opportunistic in the sense that you get to work on a real-world problem, right? When it comes to digital, and especially digital marketing, from supplier and retail standpoint, one of the things that we look for a lot is creativity, right? You're looking at teams that are built around speed. You're looking at teams that are built around trying to find a great opportunity, but you're also looking at a relationship that's built on a lot of process, because Granger is not a small company, either is Bosch. So we are not the startup in the heart of San Francisco that can move at that kind of speed and try everything we want. But we like to have a nice mix of creativity and success while still following traditional processes that really have shown success in the past. So when I look for success out of this, or not even success per se, but at least results out of the Capstone, really to get to see what kind of ideas are out there. I mean, we're not looking to use this as a platform to gain those ideas, let's say, but the creativity in terms of how open of a course this is really something that we look forward to seeing the results of. How can a very traditional relationship be upgraded for the digital age to really enhance both the retail and the supplier's brand positioning online?
Yeah, I think so. We have a global audience in the course, and a big chunk of the learners are from across the world. I think particularly in when we start out with Eric's course, we've got Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, we have about 90,000 learners as of now who've come into your course, and I think only about 20% is a U.S. audience.
Actually, that's a little bit high. We're at 81,000 today, which is still a lot. And 22% are from the U.S., and the rest are from nearly 200 different countries. So it is a very global audience.
So let me bring in David to the call. David is in charge of search at Granger. David, give us a 1-minute background on, introduction on you.
On me, sure. Yeah. I have a management information systems background.
Right.
Started in the agency world with digital marketing, HR specific. Since then, I've actually touched upon basically every vertical except for EDU and CPG. So banking, finance, mortgage, travel and hospitality, B2B with Granger right now, B2C in the past with heading up paid search with Sears. So a wide variety of experience with paid search. And now I'm heading up paid search as well as affiliates here at Granger.
And forget to do the unmute. So David, thank you for joining the call. So we have Akin Tosiali from Granger on the team as well, who's the Director of Digital Marketing, and we have Beth Distel, who is the sort of who manages the display, and you're managing search. And we'd love to in one of the later hangouts bring in somebody who does email as well as at Granger. Of course, for this project, the students are focusing on display and email as the channels that students should focus on. But give us a sense of, briefly, David, on the role of search ads at Granger.
Absolutely. Well, search is one of the facets of digital marketing, of course. I think we really look at it not in terms of what channels we should fit in specific campaigns, but how do customers engage with our brand, and how can we help our customers find the products that they need to go back to work? Whether that's through search, if we identify that the majority of customers focusing on a specific product engage with search through Google or Yahoo or any other search engine, or maybe they engage more often with email and they don't have much time directly in front of a desktop, for example. Or even if they primarily focus on mobile devices because they're out in the field, maybe on a construction site or in a warehouse somewhere, then we try to cater our efforts to helping really engage with the customer at the point where it's most relevant for them. So search is one component of that. It's one of our largest components, just from the sheer volume of searches that happen on a daily basis. From all the top of the funnel where people aren't really even sure what they need, down to the middle where they know of a specific tool that they need, down to the bottom of the funnel where they know a specific SKU or something very specific to exactly what they want. We try to engage with them throughout that entire funnel.
So I'll come back to you in a bit to get a little bit more detail of how search and display and email are all brought together. What's the planning process on doing an integrated marketing campaign? I wanted to go over to the faculty and get their thoughts on, perhaps, starting with Eric on what their thoughts on are. What have you seen happening in your courses? What has been the experience like, and what do you think, sort of this capstone brings together, and what are your thoughts on, our two industry partners coming together? So any sort of share your experiences on what has happened in your courses, and then we'll talk about how this leads into the capstone. So over to you, Eric.
Can you hear me okay? Okay. Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to have two industry participants that are the size and stature of Granger and Bosch, so thank you for participating. I think it'll be a great experience. In terms of my course as the first course in the specialization really focuses on the foundation of marketing and the marketing toolkit, the 4 Ps, and I think that this seems like clearly like a marketing relationship, so that's that's one connection. One particular concept I think that could be applicable based on what I'm hearing, and I'm learning here for the first time more about this Capstone project, is the role of authenticity, which we talk a lot about in my course, and not just making claims online, but linking to authentic foundations. And I think that I'm sure that both Bosch and Granger have real authentic foundations, perhaps in the founding of the company, and really engaged in, I think, of authentic acts, creating, making buildings, repairing things. So I would encourage our learners to leverage that concept in particular. I think there's some opportunities here. provide an authentic, creative storyline. In terms of our class, so we have over 80,000 learners from around the world, and just see a number of fantastic ideas. I know a number of the concepts that we discussed in the course are actually very much enriched by the student discussions, examples that people give, and the back and forth discussions have been very rich. And I'm sure that we'll see the same thing in the capstone. We have lots of people that are very smart. 85% have a college degree or more. So lots of smart people, lots of good ideas, and I'm sure that we'll see them being transformed and into some really great capstone projects.
Good. Thank you, Eric, for your thoughts. I think the message of authenticity would perhaps be very relevant, especially when we are asking students to also think of the content of the messages on, even if they're focusing on 2 channels, the content strategy is also something we are asking them to work on towards the end of the project. So I think that concept will resonate there as well. Over to Kevin now. So Kevin is, of course, I think Kevin, from the time you started, or rather I've started working with you, I think your designation has changed quite a bit. So right now what are you doing at Google?
So right now I'm running analytics for our consumer goods and entertainment sector. Obviously a pretty large one with a pretty diverse set of clients and consumers with different needs and experiences, but fits really perfectly in this example for sure, with a consumer, as David explained, who's on the move, who's using multiple channels to reach and research their products. So there's a really good fit there. I think also this capstone course fits in a number of ways and fits so clearly with what we talked about in my course on digital analytics. Just as Eric was saying, it's great to have such a recognized pair of brands, global companies involved here that our global student body will certainly spark to. But then the entire course that we talked about, really, there's 2 different very important uses of data that we discussed. One is on the insight piece, and so the channels and the opportunities that we are presented here, and David articulated it very clearly, is about consumer intent and what is that consumer trying to do, particularly through search. And so there's a great opportunity here for students to use the data that they can collect to try to understand that consumer intent and drive some insights out there. And then the second part is all about measurement and actually quantifying success. And now Sinesh and the team talked a little bit in detail about what the objectives are for Bosch and Grainger here both. And that's very important, because as you're measuring and you're collecting data, it's critically important to understand what the company is trying to do, so that you can indeed identify what metrics are used to define success, which metrics you should be tracking, and then put together a good understanding of whether the campaigns have performed successfully or not.
Thanks, Kevin, for your insights on that. I think if when the learners look at the outline for the courses, clearly we do make them think about. We've given them a few scenarios on what kind of audience Grainger and Bosch are focusing on, and they do start thinking about the consumer decision journey and mapping out for the different scenarios how the journey will differ, and then they use your excellent framework where you've given them a structured template plan, and then you go on to figuring out the sources of data, and then you analyze it, and then of course towards the end, once they've put forward their strategy, they do leverage some of your principles on how to visualize the data and bring it together into the final report. So I think we'll look forward to the outputs from the students. Over to Rhiannon. Rhiannon, of course, is teaching 2 of the courses towards the end of the specialization, and that is where everything comes together for this capstone as well, where you're bringing, where the learners bring together the their campaign strategy, focusing on the channels that Granger has decided to work with Bosch on this. So Rhiannon, your thoughts on what you've seen in your courses so far and what you expect in the capstone.
Sure, absolutely. I'm very excited to see what the students are going to do in the capstone, because we've given them sort of step-by-step guides for each of the digital channels in my courses and how to execute in email and search and all of these different channels. So I'm excited to see what they'll do. I think that given Eric's foundation and Kevin's analytics and data visualization and all of that, it'll be great to have them employ all of those skills in this project. I've worked with students in courses here on campus with real-world clients, and so I'm excited to see it in this platform with Granger and Bosch. Ditto to what Kevin and Eric said about having the partnership here. I think it's very exciting. So looking forward to seeing the students actually put those tools in action.
Great. Yeah, thank you. I think given the fact that the problem that Granger and Bosch have put together is reasonably focused, so it seems like the learners will have a clear objective on what to go towards, and of course we are not able to pick out all the concepts. I think they've learned a lot more in the 5 courses than we can of course use to apply towards this specific problem, but I think they have a lot of strong foundation to work on, particularly on these 2 channels that Granger is focusing on. I'd like to take, take this back to David to get a sense of, David, given that the learners are focusing on display and email, but search is clearly, even for Granger, is the most important channel and the biggest spend area. Give us a sense of how Granger decides, which channel to go with, or what kind of channel mix to go with for a particular objective. So just an overall view of how you might decide which channels or a mix to go with.
Sure. I alluded to it a little earlier where we really start with the customer and what we're trying to solve for. So taking into account the customer's context, and I think that's really what's very important here, is understanding where the customer is, who they are, what they're trying to achieve, what they know, what device they're interacting with, just their day-to-day. We try to see, well, from that, what are the objectives that we can really extract from that. So whether it's just more like traditional marketing where you just get eyeballs on something, or is it, do we want them to actually perform an action? So maybe it's a lead generation. They'll fill out a form if they're not even sure. Maybe it's to connect them with the call center because they're on their mobile device. They don't have time to scroll through articles or find products. They really need to talk to someone immediately, or any variety of those kinds of things. We really try to focus on that first. The bulk of our campaigns are really focused on driving return on ad spend. So one of the pros and cons of performance marketing is that we very specifically know how much revenue is driven from the actions that we perform. So in the past, where you might do more like a radio controlled geographic test where you go dark in some markets and then you heavy up in some other markets and you have business as usual in other markets. Performance marketing, we can achieve that as well, but it's much quicker in terms of how we optimize. So we look at data on a daily basis, hourly sometimes, depending on the campaign itself, but we really want to focus on driving to those specific metrics that we're optimizing to. So most of the time it's return on ad spend, and that's kind of how we determine what channels to engage with. So on the performance marketing scale, we have paid search probably as the primary lever for return on ad spend, and then moving to display for more of an awareness play, or remarketing across both display and paid search, and then email for people who have given us their email. They've engaged with our brand in the past, they're familiar with our brand, and maybe they have a specific need that they have that we can really provide content to help them along that journey.
Could you just briefly talk about the sort of the main personas that Grainger looks at when they are thinking about these campaigns?
Sure. I think there's also a variety of personas. We have the traditional ones like a purchaser, so a procurement officer who's in the office, really working on the workflow for procurement. So someone out in the field will find a product that they need, pass it on to the procurement officer to really approve or price out or do some action. There's that person. From a more performance marketing standpoint, especially with paid search, we look at a higher level for audience. So it's just a visitor to the site before, or a visitor to specific pages. So if a visitor has looked at Bosch products in the past, or maybe they've only looked at a different category, but we know that there's intent for tools, we might bucket them out into a different audience. So it's less persona in terms of what they do and who they are, and more in terms of the propensity to want certain types of products or want to find certain things. That's kind of how we look at it.
Great. So I'll, we are almost at the end of the call. I'll open it up for the faculty to, if you have any thoughts or questions that may, bring out some more information. David, I know Bosch, the team had to leave at 8:30, but if any of the faculty have any questions that helps bring out, some concepts or facts that are relevant to your courses or the concepts, open, platform to the other faculty right now. Looks like everybody is keeping quiet, so that's fine. So David, thank you, and thanks a lot for joining in, and we look forward to learning from you and Beth and Akin over the course of the capstone, and hope that the submissions that students come up with really help you perhaps think about some new ways of leveraging this partnership that you're setting up with Bosch. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is one of the few times that Grainger is trying this with a big partner, or is that, have you done that before as well?
To the extent of how we're integrating and moving forward, this is definitely unique. I think this is a really important milestone in terms of how technology is leveraged, in terms of how marketing, we go to market, in terms of understanding our customers. So this is a really exciting opportunity.
So thank you all. Thank you, Eric, Kevin, and Rhiannon for joining the call, and thank you, David. We look forward to having more of the experts from Grainger and Bosch with us on subsequent hangouts for the capstone. Thank you, everyone.